Transitioning from a medical cannabis market to an adult use market is one of the most challenging experiences you will ever face when running a cannabis business. So let's get into it. Moving to an adult use market always means new, more stringent regulations with an increased concern around public safety and underage consumption. This also comes with new packaging and labeling laws and an increase in enforcement in licensed cannabis businesses. More than likely, the program has also transitioned from the Department of Health's responsibility to a brand new regulating body that only focuses on the cannabis program and regulation and development of the rules, which, you guessed it, also comes with an increased inspections and enforcement of those rules and regulations. Every state that is transitioned to the adult use market has seen the majority of these aspects, if not all of these aspects, be implemented into their new adult use program. So as a cannabis business, let's break down what you can do to prepare for adult use and the best practices you can implement today to stay ahead of increased regulatory requirements, more stringent rules, and an increase of on-site inspections by regulators. When it comes to operating compliantly in the cannabis space, you can either be a fire starter, a firefighter, or a fire preventer. And I promise you, if you follow my method, then you will have a proactive cannabis business to prevent fires from happening in the first place. With adult use cannabis and a brand new regulatory regime, this requires every single person involved in the cannabis business to have a mindset shift. You are now not in the cannabis industry. You are in the compliance industry. Sounds fun, right? With adult use comes an increase of sales transactions and an increase in scrutiny on public safety, which means ultimately more rules. But it's never a one set of rules. It's never a set it and forget it type of situation. There will be multiple iterations of those rules with public comment hearings to get feedback from the cannabis industry on how to shape those rules and regulations in the overall regulatory regime. And it's absolutely critical that you get involved because this will affect your business. One area that I promise you that will occupy a lot of your time and resources and may even require additional help from an outside expert is your packaging and labeling, especially for upstream supply chain operations like growers, manufacturers, and distributors. As a grower, a brand, or a distributor, be prepared for the back and forth for what is compliant or not compliant with those labels. You may even get some shipments that are rejected from retailers because everyone interprets the rules and regulations differently. And a bonus tip here is be careful on how much packaging and labeling you order. So like how many units in an order that you put in for, let's say, your labels. Because if you put in a big batch of those labels and then they are not compliant, you just wasted a ton of time, resources, and money. In the beginning, everyone is just trying to figure it out. So there's a lot of questions. And during that time, enforcement is usually pretty low on cannabis businesses. But just because there is a lack of enforcement, this does not mean that the business is truly compliant in meeting the rules and regulations within your state. You have to stay in compliance with local, state, and federal requirements, not just for cannabis rules, but also employment laws, taxes, really the list goes on for everything you have to meet for compliance requirements. It can be a guessing game of translating the regulations and interpreting the gray areas of the rules, your daily operations, and obstacles with efficiency or technical limitations. But within the first 2 to 3 years, enforcement begins increasing, which usually catches operators off guard because they were used to that more relaxed stance from the regulating body. And this is why you should focus on building your compliance and operations framework, containing operating plans, training plans, and systems to scale the business within the regulatory framework. If you don't know where to start in building your compliance team and framework, then check out this video right here and register for my webinar where I unpack the 4 simple steps to build, scale, and train a compliance program into any cannabis business. And the main takeaway here is ensure to have one point of contact who is responsible for protecting the cannabis business internally. This should not be fragmented across multiple departments or individuals, like between your accountant, your operations manager, your inventory manager, what have you. You need one single point of contact who has the accountability and the responsibility to proactively protect the cannabis business. Look, we are in the cannabis industry, which means we are managing cannabis or inventory, whether that's bulk material, works in progress, or final form ready units for the retail storefronts or delivery services. We are all managing and selling inventory in some aspect of the supply chain, which means not only are you a compliance business, but your inventory is always your biggest problem. It's because your inventory is always tied to your business documents that may stay up to date and accurate for years on end. And you have to manage the accuracy to ensure no diversion of legal product makes it into the traditional market. And of course, overall public safety to ensure no product recalls or adverse events. So this is why maintaining proper, compliant, and efficient inventory control should be your main focus always, because that will always be one of your biggest issues tied to running a cannabis business. And if you don't know where to start in building, training, and scaling a custom compliance program in your cannabis business, then register for my webinar by clicking the link below. Or if you're in a metric state and you're in a messy situation right now with your inventory, then click to register for my second webinar on how to clean up your metric without sparking an investigation by regulators. I hope to see you on the other side.